experience art.
Una experiencia fantástica, ¿no?
Carlos Rodriguez thinks it's fantastic. He says the smells are really authentic. Some perhaps a bit too realistic.
El que menos, yo creo que el animal.
Alan Llanos says smelling the animal was not the best, but I really liked the scent of the jasmine.
It's nice and it's good, but the painting is still the most important thing to see.
The museum in Madrid is the latest in Europe to fill the air with fragrance, to give visitors a whole new sense of art. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
And that is the overnight news for this Monday. For some of you, the news continues. For others, make sure you check back with us later for CBS Mornings. And of course, follow us online anytime at cbsnews.com. Reporting from the Broadcast Center in New York City, I'm Jerika Duncan.
This is CBS News Flash. I'm Elise Preston in New York. Humanitarian workers are administering aid to Ukrainian residents evacuating Mariupol to a town more than 140 miles away. That includes mental health services for the civilians stranded in the middle of the war zone for nearly 2 months. The U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $10,000 reward to help in the hunt for an Alabama escaped inmate and an endangered correctional officer. Vicky White was transferring Casey White from a jail to a nearby courthouse when they were last seen. The two are not related. Wynonna Judd was present as the Country Music Hall of Fame inducted iconic mother-daughter duo, the Judds. The induction comes just a day after the matriarch, Naomi, passed at the age of 76. For more news, download the CBS News app on your cell phone or connected TV. I'm Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
It's Monday, May 2nd, 2022. This is the CBS Morning News. Mariupol evacuations. Some civilians leave a steel plant bombarded by Russian forces as the top Democrat vows U.S. support until the fight is done. Massive manhunt. A capital murder suspect breaks out of jail with possible help from a corrections officer.
My mama loved you so much, and she appreciated your love for her.
Celebrating Naomi Judd, how the music legend was remembered at the Country Music Hall of Fame. Good morning and good to be with you. I'm Anne-Marie Green. Ukraine says the evacuation of civilians from the city of Mariupol will continue today. The UN and Red Cross helped get about 100 of them out of a steel plant over the weekend. They were holed up for weeks in dreadful conditions at the massive plant as Russian forces relentlessly shelled the city. The civilians, including children, were transported to safety. Several hundred civilians remain trapped, though, in the plant, along with an estimated 2,000 Ukrainian fighters. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is meeting with Poland's president today after she and a Democratic congressional delegation made an unannounced visit to Kyiv over the weekend to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ian Lee is in London with the latest. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. The Azovstal steel plant is a sprawling complex. It's crisscrossed with tunnels and bunkers. Really, it's an ideal place to fight off a Russian advance. But the hundreds of civilians still trapped inside are running out of food and medicine. The situation is quite dire. The UN and Red Cross hope this week to continue the evacuations.
After weeks in hiding, this Ukrainian woman who took shelter in Mariupol's massive steel plant expressed relief. She's one of dozens evacuated by the United Nations from the besieged port city over the weekend amid Russia's brutal invasion. When the shells started landing, she says, I thought my heart would stop and I would not survive. Relentless bombardment by Russian forces impeded previous attempts to get residents out of the city. But the attacks continue in the north and south. Russia's defense ministry confirmed this missile strike on an airfield near Odessa.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other members of Congress visited the capital city of Kyiv yesterday and told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that U.S. support will not waver.
Our fight is a fight for everyone. And so our commitment is to be there for you until the fight is done.
Back in the U.S., President Biden wants Congress to authorize a $33 billion aid package for Ukraine. But it could face difficulties passing if lawmakers try to link it with new COVID spending.
We need COVID aid. We need Ukraine aid. We should do them together or separately, but we shouldn't wait around.
Democrats want the Ukraine deal approved by Memorial Day weekend.
Ukraine desperately needs that continuous flow of weapons as it hopes to repel Russia's advance in the east. And just looking at the map, it appears the Kremlin strategy now is to use a pincer movement, essentially advance from the north and south to completely encircle the Donbass region to trap Ukrainian forces. But as we saw in and around Kyiv earlier in the war, Ukrainian troops are putting up a stiff resistance. Anne-Marie.
Ian Lee in London. Ian, thank you so much. Well, the U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $10,000 reward for information about an escaped Alabama inmate and a missing corrections officer who authorities believe helped him. 38-year-old Casey White was being held on a capital murder charge when he left the Lauderdale County Detention Center Friday with Officer Vicky White. Investigators say they are not related. Officials say that the officer told them that she was taking an inmate to a nearby courthouse for a mental health evaluation, but there was no evaluation scheduled. The sheriff says the corrections officer had turned in her retirement papers the day before she went missing. And a former White House COVID response coordinator is warning about another COVID wave. Yesterday on CBS's Face the Nation, Dr. Deborah Birx said the U.S. should prepare for what she called a predictable summer surge in the south and then a surge in northern states in the winter. She said that on data from South Africa, which has seen a rise in new cases.
Each of these surges are about 4 to 6 months apart. That tells me that natural immunity wanes enough in the general population after 4 to 6 months that a significant surge is going to occur again. And this is what we have.
Dr. Birx said that there are similar surges in 2020 of last year. So we're learning more about the devastating tornado that destroyed or damaged more than 1,000 buildings in Kansas on Friday. The National Weather Service says the tornado had winds of up to 165 miles per hour. It was also on the ground for 21 minutes and traveled nearly 13 miles. 4 people were hurt during that storm. Actress Amber Heard is expected to take the stand this week in the $50 million defamation suit filed by her ex-husband Johnny Depp. Depp wrapped up his testimony last week. He's suing Heard over a 2018 op-ed that she wrote in the Washington Post, claiming that she was a survivor of domestic abuse. Depp claims the article, which did not mention his name, damaged his career. He testified that he was the victim of domestic violence in their relationship. Heard is countersuing him for $100 million. And it was an emotional night at the Country Music Hall of Fame ceremony. Wynonna and Ashley Judd tearfully accepted the Judds' induction into the hall just one day after their mother, Naomi, unexpectedly died. They talked about just how much the fans meant to her.
Your esteem for her and your regard for her really penetrated her heart. And it was your affection for her that did keep her going in these last years.
I'm going to make this fast because my heart's broken. And I feel so blessed. And it's a very strange dynamic to be this broken and this blessed.
The family of Naomi Judd said that she died due to the disease of mental illness. Liliana Luciano has more on Judd's success and struggles.
Naomi and Wynonna Judd's soulful reunion at April's CMT Awards was the first time they sang together at an awards show in 20 years, and the last in front of the fans Naomi relied on.
My family didn't tell me they loved me or give me support, so the fans have always been I call it my family of choice.
Those fans devastated when Wynonna and actress Ashley Judd announced her surprising death, saying, "We lost our beautiful mother to the disease of mental illness. We are shattered."
My psychiatrist said recently that I have I even wrote it down, emotional resilience.
But resilience and success are no cure for a lifelong struggle with mental illness. The singer, who survived childhood sexual abuse, hepatitis C, and a breast cancer scare, spoke often and openly of her severe treatment-resistant depression. The Judds were going on tour in September. She shared her ritual before getting back on stage.
Don't try to be more than you are. Just be all that you are.
Her chosen family remembering her for just that. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, coming up, May Day demonstrations, what marchers in France are demanding amid chaotic protests. And honoring Gianna Bryant, Nike unveils a new sneaker that pays tribute to Kobe Bryant's daughter on what would have been her 16th birthday. This is the CBS Morning News.
I've made progress with my mental health. So when I started having unintentional body movements called tardive dyskinesia, I ignored them. But when the twitching and jerking in my face and hands affected my day-to-day, I finally had to say, it's not okay. It was time to talk to my doctor about Austedo. She said Austedo helps reduce TD movements in adults, while I continue with most of my mental health medications.
Austedo can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have suicidal thoughts. Common side effects include inflammation of the nose and throat, insomnia, and sleepiness. Don't take Austedo if you have liver problems, are taking Rezapine, tetrabenazine, or valbenazine. Austedo may cause irregular or fast heartbeat, restlessness, movements mimicking Parkinson's disease, fever, stiff muscles, problems thinking, and sweating.
Talk to your doctor about Austedo. It's time to treat TD. TD is not okay. Visit askforaustedo.com.
And now please welcome Anna Montoya.
Hello there, fellow students. Honestly, I thought I was getting my floors clean. Then I learned my mop could be loaded with bacteria. That means I gotta clean my mop too? Oh, so I got a Swiffer Wet Jet to get a cleaner clean. I stick on a fresh pad, boom, it's ready to go. The spray breaks down dirt, and the pad absorbs it deep inside, unlike my mop that can spread it around. And Wet Jet's even safe on wood. All this, bye-bye. It's so simple. I get a cleaner clean every day.
Try Wet Jet with a money-back guarantee.
Want more from your vitamin brand? Get more with Nature's Bounty. From the first ever triple action sleep supplement to the only 24-hour vitamin C to heart healthy support every day. Get more with Nature's Bounty.
Rescue crews in China continue to search for dozens of people trapped or missing after a building collapse. 2 more people were pulled from the rubble yesterday, more than 50 hours after the 6-story building fell on Friday. At least 7 people have been rescued so far. 9 people have been arrested. Some were in charge of design and construction. Others allegedly made a false safety report. Well, dozens of people were arrested in May Day demonstrations in France, and there was a deadly shooting at a festival in Mississippi. Those are some of the headlines on the morning newsstand. The Clarion Ledger reports 1 person is dead and several injured in a shooting at the Mississippi Mudbug Festival. Authorities say that a law enforcement officer shot and killed a teenager who was one of several people suspected of firing shots Saturday in a parking lot at a state fairgrounds in Jackson. The festival was shut down after the shooting.
Take a village to raise these kids, so all of us just need to pray for them. This was a family-oriented event, and you can't come out with your family and enjoy yourself. It's really sad and emotional, you know.
The rock band Blue Oyster Cult was the festival's headliner on Saturday. A spokesman for the band said everyone in the group was safe. Reuters says violence erupted during May Day protests in Paris. Police fired tear gas as people demonstrated against the policies of newly re-elected President Emmanuel Macron and ransacked businesses yesterday. Thousands of people took part in May Day marches across France, calling for salary increases and for Macron to drop his plan to raise the retirement age from 62 to 65. At least 8 people were hurt and more than 50 arrested. And USA Today says that there says 3 new photos were released of Princess Charlotte ahead of her 7th birthday today. Prince William and Duchess Kate shared the photos of their only daughter, which were taken over the weekend. In one photo, Charlotte is seen hugging the family's dog. Charlotte has 2 brothers, 9-year-old Prince George and 4-year-old Prince Louis. She is 4th in line to the British throne. And still to come, your cereal is about to get citrusy. Tropicana rolls out the first cereal made for orange juice instead of milk.
Lay down your head and show me if you like it. Lend me your ears and read me like a bird.
Versace Bright Crystal at Macy's, the fragrance destination. Dry eye symptoms keep driving you crazy? Inflammation in your eye might be to blame.
Time for ache and burn.
Over-the-counter eye drops typically work by lubricating your eyes and may provide temporary relief.
Those will probably pass by me.
Xiidra works differently, targeting inflammation that can cause dry eye disease.
Xiidra? No!
It can provide lasting relief. Xiidra is approved to treat the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease. Don't use if you're allergic to Xiidra. Common side effects include eye irritation, discomfort or blurred vision when applied to the eye, and unusual taste sensation.
Got any room in your eye?
Ask your doctor if a 90-day prescription is right for you and pay as little as $0.
I prefer you didn't.
Xiidra. Not today, dry eye.
So, are you excited?
I am, but I'm a little nervous. This feels like a big change.
But it's not. I have one. People act like they're so hard to take care of or whatever, but it's totally a piece of cake.
Well, that's good to hear.
See how easy that is?
I hope being a mom is that easy.
It's not. Bye now.
Introducing the all-electric Chevy Bolt EUV with standard home outlet installation included. Find new ease. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
What if positive change was only one design away? Some say design is beyond most people's reach. We say it's already in your hands. So, what will you design today?
Life doesn't stop for diabetes. Be ready for every moment with Glucerna. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand that's scientifically designed to help manage your blood sugar. Live every moment. Glucerna.
Here's a look at today's forecast in some cities around the country. A federal labor board in New York will be counting votes today after a second group of Amazon warehouse workers voted on whether or not to unionize. The results are expected to be released this evening. Last month, another warehouse in New York voted to unionize. Amazon is still disputing that result, though. Here's Matt Piper with more on today's Money Watch report.
Stocks fell on Friday to end a brutal month. The Dow lost 939 points. The Nasdaq slid 536. The S&P 500 was down 155. It was the worst month for the Dow and S&P 500 since March 2020, when coronavirus restrictions took hold of the country. And for the tech-heavy Nasdaq, steep declines from major companies like Amazon and Facebook parent Meta platforms caused the worst sell-off since 2008. Looking ahead to this week, the Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates by 0.5% following its two-day policy meeting. It would be the first hike greater than a quarter since 2000 as the Fed ramps up its fight against inflation. Increases to interest rates make borrowing for things like homes and cars more expensive. Moderna's chief medical officer told CBS's Face the Nation he is absolutely confident that data for the company's vaccine for young children will be ready for the FDA to review in June. Last week, Moderna asked the FDA for an emergency use authorization for the vaccine for kids under 6 years old. Pfizer also expects its data to be ready by the time the FDA holds its June meeting. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Matt Piper.
So if you're wondering what to have for breakfast this morning, how about a nice bowl of cereal with orange juice poured on top? Tropicana is introducing Tropicana Crunch, a crispy honey almond cereal that's made to be enjoyed with OJ, not milk. The cereal even comes with a paper straw so that you can crunch and sip. The cereal launches on Wednesday, which is National Orange Juice Day. I'll let you try it first. You can tell me about it. Up next, entertainer-in-chief. We're going to hear some of President Biden's jokes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Dogs help us live longer. Return the favor with Fresh Pet. Fresh, wholesome meats and veggies for the long haul. Fresh Pet.
Your record label is taking off, but so is your sound engineer. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
I started screening for colon cancer because of my late husband, Jay. I wish he could have seen our daughter, Ellie, get married on the best day of her life. But colon cancer took him from us, like it's taken so many others. That's what made it my mission to talk about getting screened and ask people to share their reasons why.
I screen for my growing family. Being with them means everything to me.
I screen for my girls. They're always surprising me.
I screened for my son. I'm his biggest fan. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, it's time to screen. Today, there are more screening options than ever before, including Cologuard.
Cologuard is non-invasive and finds 92% of colon cancers, even in early stages. It's not for those at high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider if Cologuard is right for you.
Everyone has a reason to screen for colon cancer. If you're 45 or older, get started at missiontoscreen.com.
A lot of things have gone virtual, including CBS 46 Cares Books to Kids. And even though we are apart, we still want to share our love for reading. That's why Attorney Ken Nugent is proud to be a part of CBS 46 Cares Books to Kids, as the CBS 46 News team takes reading to kids virtual. Even in these challenging times, we look forward to putting books in the hands of kids in need. And our commitment is ongoing as we continue to see the difference reading makes in a child's life.
Georgia weather happens fast. Atlanta traffic doesn't. Now, getting home late doesn't mean missing out. The CBS 46 News at 7 is a newscast made for you. Catch up quick with the top 7 stories that impact you. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez helps you plan ahead with First Alert Weather. Tracy Hutchins keeps it moving so you can too. Jam-packed with the Atlanta news you need to know. This is your newscast. The CBS 46 News at 7. Starting today on CBS 46.
Here's a look at today's forecast in some cities around the country.
Bain to Clark, Clark to Morant, Morant on the drive, scoop layup, no good, it's over.
A tough loss for the Memphis Grizzlies yesterday. John Morant missed the game-winning layup as time expired in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Golden State Warriors. Final score, 117-116. Game 2 is tomorrow night. And Nike released a 60-second ad to celebrate Kobe Bryant's daughter, Gianna, who would have turned 16 yesterday.
Dear Gianna, from the first time you imagined winning a WNBA championship, I knew one thing was real. You were special.
The ad is meant to be a love letter to the late teen from basketball. Gigi Bryant dreamed of playing basketball in college and the WNBA before she and her father were killed in a helicopter crash in 2020. Proceeds from her shoe, the Mambacita Sweet 16, will go to the Mamba and Mambacita Foundation, which Kobe Bryant founded. The stars will be out tonight at New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art once more. Celebrities are set to grace the red carpet for the annual Met Gala. Last year's event, known as the biggest night in fashion, was postponed because of the pandemic. This year's theme will be Gilded Glamour. The event raises money for the museum's Costume Institute. And the White House Correspondents' Dinner was back in full force over the weekend after being disrupted by COVID for the past 2 years. President Biden addressed the packed room in Washington, D.C., stressing the importance of democracy and the free press. And he also cracked a few jokes.
I'm really excited to be here tonight with the only group of Americans with a lower approval rating than I have. The very first president to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner was Calvin Coolidge in 1924. I'd just been elected to the United States Senate.
Concerns about the president's attendance given a recent rise in COVID cases, and that was not lost on the host comedian, Trevor Noah.
It is my great honor to be speaking tonight at the nation's most distinguished super spreader event.
More than 2,500 people attended, including our own Gayle King. All were required to show proof of vaccination. And coming up on CBS Mornings, actor Chris O'Donnell stops by the Times Square studio to talk about a milestone for NCIS Los Angeles and the new reality dance competition, Come Dance With Me. I'm Anne-Marie Green. This is the CBS Morning News.
Happy Mother's Day!
Oh my gosh! My mom deserves the best, and the best gifts are from Harry and David. Chocolate, yummy, cheese,
Gouda.
Oh, it's from Harry and David. Aww, thank you.
This is the story of two homes. They both have bugs. Gotcha. But only one has Zevo. Bother the bugs. Not your family. Zevo is made with essential oils, which attack bugs' biological systems. So Zevo gets rid of the bugs, plus is safe for use around people and pets. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Ready to shine from the inside out? Say yes to Nature's Bounty Advanced Gummies and Jelly Beans, the #1 brand for hair, skin, and nails, with 2 times more biotin to bring out more of your inner beauty. Nature's Bounty. Live bountifully.
If you need to be treated for pneumonia, would you go to a dentist? Would you have a CPA pull your teeth? Of course not. Yet time and time again, I see lawyers who handle immigration, criminal defense, and bankruptcy say, by the way, we'll handle your accident case too. Our lawyers handle only one thing and one thing only, whether it's personal injury or workers' compensation, and we never charge by the hour. So if you win big, we win big. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Straight out of high school, almost straight out of high school, I joined a band. I was signed when I was 21. I didn't even really have a bank account then, which I definitely should have. I literally paid cash for everything. I didn't have any credit, so when I wanted to go buy a car, I kept hearing Ghost Credit everywhere I went. Ghost Credit, you don't exist. Fast forward to 2020, I have a brand new house that we just purchased, and I have a beautiful baby on the way. If it weren't for Delta Community, I wouldn't be prepared for any of that. They gave me the means to get to where I need to be in a very short period of time.
Our top stories this morning. Ukraine says the evacuation of civilians from the city of Mariupol will continue today. The UN and Red Cross helped get about 100 people trapped in a steel plant out over the weekend. They were holed up for weeks in dreadful conditions at the massive plant as Russian forces relentlessly shelled the city. Several hundred civilians remain trapped in the plant, along with an estimated 2,000 Ukrainian fighters. And the U.S. Marshals Service is offering up to $10,000 for information about an escaped Alabama inmate and a missing corrections officer. Casey White was being held on a capital murder charge when he left the Lauderdale County Detention Center Friday with Officer Vicky White, who is not related. Officials say that the officer told them that she was taking the inmate to a nearby courthouse for a mental health evaluation. There was no evaluation scheduled. Some of the world's rarest and most iconic sneakers are on display as the global resale market surges. It is a trend that started in the U.S. and it's now gaining traction around the world. Tina Kraus explains.
Die-hard sneaker collectors are doing some soul-searching at a museum in Australia filled with famous footwear.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for sneakerheads to get up close and personal with some of these sneakers that they really would never otherwise have the chance to see.
Like basketball legend Michael Jordan's old high tops from 1985, dubbed the Mona Lisa of sneakers.
Like an original 1985 Jordan 1, game-worn and signed by Michael Jordan himself.
A similar pair brought $500,000 at auction 2 years ago. Last year, kicks from Kanye West stole the spotlight. The Nike Air Yeezys sold for a record-breaking $1.8 million. The sneaker resale market made big strides during the pandemic as a lucrative side hustle for sneakerheads and a cash cow for companies like eBay.
Sneakers has just exploded in terms of growth. Like on eBay, we've seen triple-digit growth within sneakers over the last 3 years.
Michael Fan says some of the 700 pairs in his collection are now valued at more than 100 times their original price. But he says there's more to it than money.
It's actually all about like the passion. Yeah, I just love sneakers.
As more collectors put their best footwear forward, investors predict the world's rare shoe market could surge to $30 billion by the end of the decade. Tina Krause, CBS News.
Coming up first on CBS Mornings, Evan Spiegel, the CEO of the social media company Snap, tells us about his new focus on augmented reality. Plus, in our series Kindness 101, Steve Hartman has the story of a young man working on inclusion in the school lunchroom. And actor Chris O'Donnell stops by the Times Square studio to talk about a milestone for NCIS Los Angeles and the new reality dance competition, Come Dance With Me. That's the CBS Morning News for this Monday. Thanks for watching. I'm Anne-Marie Green. Have a great day.
Nagging doesn't help, force-feeding doesn't help, but many parents need help. We've got strategies that may help your picky eaters, including when it might be time to seek extra help on CBS Mornings Wednesday.
CBS Mornings, weekdays on CBS.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
Right now at 4:30, the special grand jury selection process begins here in Fulton County as the district attorney investigates former President Donald Trump's possible interference with the 2020 election in Georgia. Details on how this may impact your commute.
In just a few hours, early voting gets underway in the upcoming general primary election.
And it's hot and humid today with the first alert for Friday. I'm breaking down your entire forecast coming up.
And we've got a whole lot more to tell you about, including a situation going on in Gwinnett County. Stay with us.
This is CBS 46 News. Wake up Atlanta.
Hey, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning, May 2nd. It's a cup of coffee kind of day, otherwise known as
Monday.
Monday.
Yep.
I'm Gervier Dinza.
And I'm Rob Hughes. Ella Dorsey's off on this Monday. First alert meteorologist Rodney Harris, though. We're going to get a double dose of him, and he has Atlanta's most accurate forecast. He's also tracking the roadways. Rodney, it's been a really nice weekend, and certainly some of those storms that we thought we might see, very isolated, right?
Yeah, very isolated, which we kind of said as we were going into the weekend, the coverage would be a little bit lower. That'll pretty much be the story this week, Rob and Gavir. Just some isolated pop-up storms throughout the week. What I do want to focus on right out of the gate is a first alert for Friday because the coverage of rain will increase on Friday. So make sure and circle that on your calendar. But until then, it'll be a typical summer-like pattern across metro Atlanta with, again, a pop-up storm possible each and every afternoon. And we'll also see the upper 80s back into the picture this week. This will be the warmest week of the year so far. So we'll break that down for you coming up. But right now, degrees in Atlanta. Good morning to you in Marietta. You're at 65 degrees in Cobb County. Lawrenceville, your current temperature is 66 degrees. And as we take you hour by hour through the rest of the day, by lunchtime, it's up to 79 degrees. Mostly sunny skies. 84 at 3 o'clock. It'll be mostly sunny, but again, a pop-up storm is possible today. The coverage is at 20%. We'll break down those rain chances coming up for you in less than 10 minutes. But first, let's take you to northwest Atlanta this morning. We do have a crash that's on Howell Mill Road at the intersection to I-75. You can actually see the police lights here. I do want to stress this is not 75 itself. It's Howell Mill at the intersection of 75 where a couple of lanes are blocked. So heads up again in northwest Atlanta. Outside of that, everybody else is looking good this morning, but we'll keep you up to date on the roads and we'll have more first alert weather and traffic coming up for you in less than 10 minutes.
Rodney, thank you. Happening today, people across the country will turn their attention toward Atlanta as part of a criminal probe into the actions of former President Donald Trump.
CBS 46's Rebecca Schramm is live at the Fulton County Courthouse this morning. Rebecca, starting today, the district attorney will try to seat a special grand jury.
That's right, Robin Gravier. They're looking for anywhere from 16 to 23 people to sit on that special grand jury, which will remain seated for up to a year. Well, I want you to take a look because right over here we've got some barriers. You see that? Well, because of how much media interest there is in this case and possibly even protests, they put these barriers up all around the Fulton County Courthouse. And from what we understand, they're going to close these roads off completely later this morning. And as for as long as it takes to seat that special grand jury, the criminal probe centers on that phone call after the 2020 election between former President Donald Trump and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. That is the recorded phone call in which Mr. Trump tells Raffensperger, we need to, quote, find the votes needed for him to win the election. A special grand jury would be able to issue subpoenas to people who have otherwise refused to cooperate. Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis will take the information gathered by the grand jury and decide whether she will seek an indictment from a regular grand jury. As this process plays out, the Fulton County Sheriff's Office will have its hands full securing the courthouse. Here's